Hello and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. My name is Pinkava, joined as always by the lovely Deplorable Knitter.
Hey everybody.
Hi, and this week in knitting news, our most important segment.
It is. We both have knitting news this week. I'm excited. So shall I start?
Go ahead.
Awesome. So this week, all the details of this pattern have not yet been worked out, but friends who know this is Unsafe Space hat, and this one is actually going to be a gift for one of the hosts of Unsafe Space. I'm making it for them, and there's a possibility that there will be a pattern available. I have to talk to the powers that be, aka Carter, who to see what he says about releasing a pattern, because it is their logo. So but I wanted to make it for them just because they had me on and it was a really exciting thing. So there's that. And as you can see, ends are coming out. It's not quite done yet, but it's done enough. And then I have been knitting this week on, well, it's another hat, and it's a new design, and I'm really excited about it. And I know what it's going to be in my head, but I don't know exactly what it's going to be in my head, so I had to stop. I think I need to draw it. I don't usually draw my patterns because it's not really how I work. I kind of just know what they're going to be in my head, but this time I'm a little iffy. So I'm gonna, I got a new stitch though that I really want to try, and hopefully it'll work out and it'll be neat, and I don't know. But if you can see, it's can you see that? No, you can't.
Oh, wait, let it focus.
How's that? I got a new webcam, and I don't know how it works exactly, to tell you the honest truth. But it's a twisted rib, and this yarn is from Sweet Mountain Crafts, and it's called Morning. I couldn't find it on there, but it's called Morning, and it's from Sweet Mountain Crafts, and she's fabulous. And I needed, a dozen pom-poms, and she doesn't have them listed in her shop. And I emailed her and I said, hey, it's me. Can I have some pom-poms? And so I'll be getting those soon, hopefully, which is exciting.
Yeah.
It's good to have friends. I'm sure I could have gotten them from a ton of other places, but she did all my ones that I needed for Stop the Steal, and she was really awesome. So, And then we all know how I feel about fingering weight yarn, right? Like, we all know it's my absolute favorite. So, of course, I got the Patriot collection from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. And it's like so pretty. And I hadn't showed it to my mom yet. And she came in my room to do something, and I come in and I see her, and she's got it out on the bed, and she's like, what's this?
Like, you holding out on me?
What's the plan?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
now,
I was looking at that one, and I'm like, ooh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then she had a sale on it. I snagged it when it was like 17% off or something.
Nice.
But so, because my mom and I are kind of like, I kind of want it, she kind of wants it. So the thought is we're both going to design something, and we're going to decide which design will work better for it. And that's who gets to actually knit with it. So stay tuned. That's going to happen. Probably like over the winter, honestly, because we've got other junk going on, and life is happening. Oh, and I totally kind of forgot that I need to be prepared to teach co-op classes in like a month. And
fall is coming way too fast.
I know. I was talking about it, I don't know, this week. We haven't even had play dates this summer. Like, everybody has just been so busy. I have been working insane amounts. It's just...
Yeah, everyone's getting their vacation and extra in this year.
Yeah, I think everybody, like, some of our really good friends, I was, like, trying to get in touch with them. And, one family, they're playing soccer. The other family, the kids are in camp for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in camp? I would die. I wouldn't know what to do without my kids. 2 nights, and I'm like, all right, now what? But so summer is coming to a close faster than I want it to. And the co-op classes. So I'm teaching a knitting and crochet class. I need to get patterns for that. I need to get like illustrations, and it's all resources I can find. I just need to like get it together and make sure it's age appropriate. The class is from ages 9 to adult. because parents can have join in the classes, I guess. Like, so I figured why not if they want to learn or practice or whatever. But the one class that I really need to spend some time preparing for is my sheep to yarn. Because in theory, I know how to do all the stuff, but in reality, I don't know how good I am at like teaching somebody how to do it.
Right.
So today I am getting the resources to make drop spindles. I ordered bamboo chopsticks, you know, like this long. And I got the little hooks to put on the top. You screw them in. And then I got polymer clay to make the whirl. Is it the, I don't know, whatever it is, the weight that makes it spin. And I'm not entirely sure because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I'm going to make one of those. And once I make it, Anne is hopefully going to help me learn. My mom also knows how to drop spin. So I don't know.
I'm the worst with spinning because, I mean, like people like will be like, oh yeah, you're spinning. What are you spinning? I'm like, wool, and you know, here's the tag, whatever the wool content is. Oh, what style do you do? And I'm like, no clue.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here with this, you know, with this half falling apart, unbranded wheel. Like, oh yeah, what company is this from? I'm like, no, there is no company. There is no style. There is no logic.
Yeah.
In the end, there is yarn. That is all I care about because I want to knit with it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I will be as helpful as I can. And I hope it helps.
I'm getting a book from the library. So like hopefully that'll help with theory at least. And then I need like the hands-on. Right. And the good news is I mean, we have to pick and wash the wool. We have to card it. We have to dye it. We have to spin it. I think we're going to make them into roll logs. Like each kid is going to get a turn with the carder because my mom has a hand crank carder where you can, and you know, the little, I don't know if you guys have seen roll logs, but the little tubes of yarn where you like take it off and you roll it up into a teeny tiny little roll. I think that's what we're going to do with the kids because otherwise like they'll have to like go through and take turns and maybe we'll have to card a couple times and we'll have to, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go, honestly. We'll have to dye our wool first and then card it. I'm not sure. See, this is the part I've got to figure out the details
because I think they're, well, I don't know how your mom does it or anything, but with the roll logs, my understanding of the process was that that's on like a different carding board thing.
Yeah, that's like on a blending board kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I think that we could dye our wool and then card it. I'm not sure. Like I said, if you guys have experience with this, because I'm new to the game and I'm going to be teaching a 10-week class on it. So yeah, it sounded like a super great idea when I decided to do it. And now it's August. Well, it's just about August and it doesn't sound as good of an idea.
Well, if it's a 10-week class, you can just focus on whatever week 1 is and pick it up as you go.
Yeah, but I would like to
like a plan,
a blueprint. And I mean, honestly, I don't think that everything we're going to do is going to take the whole 10 weeks. So probably we're going to work on spinning enough to knit or crochet with.
Right.
Because we're going to spend a couple weeks knitting or spinning, hopefully, to get an actual amount that they can use.
Right.
We'll see. I'm clueless. So if you guys know anything about it, yeah, let me know. Oh, and then the only other thing I had is today, well, not today, but today when you guys see this is July 31st. It's the last day to order t-shirts. If you guys wanted to get a Deplorable Knitter t-shirt, I'm not going to sell them again. I don't think I'm going to sell them again maybe until next summer, or Anne and I have some things we're talking about doing to kind of expand our brand. So that may change, but as of now, there's no plans to put these shirts out again. So if you want one, tell me, because otherwise, sorry.
You're looking for your moment. Here's your moment.
Yeah. The bags will still be available though. It's way easier to keep the bags in stock because they don't have sizes, they're bags. Right. But the reason I wanted to do pre-sale is just because with the different styles of shirts and the different sizes, and it's too much to stock, and then it's to order them one at a time is way too costly, and it's just, so this is what's going on. So
Definitely.
That's my ramble. But Anne, I know you got stuff going on too.
I do.
Hi, Anne.
Hi.
So Anne was just going to tell us about her yarn. You want to see it? What she's doing?
I do want to see it.
Okay. Oh, and people watching, this lady is my mom.
Hi, everybody.
If you couldn't tell by the way we laugh and look alike, so. What do you got, Anne?
Oh, yeah. So my knitting this week, I think I said last week that I am back to being, like a knitter for profit. I'm not just sitting around making patterns. So that on my Etsy shop, lots of people are buying my hats, which is weird because it's July. That never happens. July is like always where nobody cares.
Well, maybe they're planning ahead this year.
It's Christmas in July.
Mm-hmm. That is
Maybe.
true.
I don't know, but yeah, I've this is a good problem to have, but still something that kind of frustrates me when, I just put a hat out and it sells and I'm like, now I have to make another one because I am not like you in that you sell the hat, then you make it. And I make an effort to make the hat, then sell it.
Well, we tend to have them and I got Mom. She does a lot of knitting for me.
I'm working on one right now.
But this past week, even though I'll normally finish a hat before I list it, I'll do the thing where if I'm like 3/4 of the way done, I'm like, okay, I'll probably finish it before it sells and put it out there. And I did it this past week. I did these because I used to do a lot of superhero knitting and different themed knitting, and not so much anymore because I started doing the whole patriotic shtick. And woohoo nationalism. And before it was hilarious because I would do like sort of Bucky Barnes Winter Soldier stuff, which means that I have knit so many red stars in my day. Like so many. And it's like, no, really, I'm against communism, but also this is what I do in my spare time. But yeah, so this is not what I knit. This is I did knit this one, but I grabbed an old one because the beret version of this hat was like my best seller for forever. And then when it sold out, I just kind of let it sell out because, I was doing other things. And I'm like, no, I'll make another one. I'll put it out there. I cut it, just to the last portion. And it was sold out already. And there was a note saying, if you could please ship this as quickly as possible, I want to give it as a gift. Like, dang it.
So hold the whole thing up so we can see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, it's
cute.
And like I said, this is the beanie version of the beret. It's nice. It's a cozy hat. The light gray I spun myself. The rest of it I didn't. But yeah, it's nice. And it's one of the only hats that I sit down and I spin the yarn myself for, which is not profitable. I know this is stupid. This is extremely stupid. I understand. But part of the so if you're familiar with your Captain America and stuff, that part of it is, so Captain America's best friend is he thought was dead. No, he was a brainwashed commie assassin now, and he has a metal arm is part of it. So, and metal arm with a big red star on it. So that's what this is based off of. So I wanted, and there's like shifts in the metal, like it's not all smooth necessarily. So that's why I liked with my hand spun that there's a little color variation and there's also texture variation that I thought that worked really well.
Very cool.
So yeah, so that's why I do stupid things. And then it became, when you make a hat, you never know what's going to be popular and what isn't. And then it became my most popular. And I'm like, this is so stupid.
Now I've got to spin all this yarn for all these hats. Like,
I know. And I do. And some people are like, oh, well, you're not getting your time out of that. And I'm like,
you don't get your time out of anything that you sell, that you have.
Exactly. Like the diagram of people who say I should charge more and the people who are actually paying for my stuff rarely touch. So I just put it out there for what people will buy it at and then, move on. But yeah, and I'm knitting yet another one of the sort of Phoenix Wright Papa hats because those are selling like hotcakes, which is bizarre, but they are. So, and this one,
problem to have.
Yeah.
It is a good problem to have. I mean, I'm like, woohoo, I'm profitable. But also like I've made like 3 or 4 of these in a row now. A break to do the Bucky hat, but these are, on one hand it's good because it's like a further relationship with the pattern. Like some patterns you finish, you're like, oh man, now I'll never make that again. It's like, no, this is a continuing story of the same hat over and over again, but also it's the same hat over and over again.
Yeah.
I have to remember how I make them, remember how I do the little star thing, because I don't like have that charted out or really written out. I'm like, yeah, I've said.
Surprised. You're such a perfectionist that I'm surprised you don't have it like down to the very exact stitch.
I mean, I basically do, but it's in my head. And like I said, I've done so many that, it's kind of difficult. Like, I was saying a little bit before that Christmas is coming and I should start doing the whole Christmas stocking thing again. I don't like Christmas stockings. They're not a good time. I can see that look too.
Well, Mom's making another Christmas stocking because we got a request for it. Yep. And I don't remember if you guys remember last year, but I tried to knit the Christmas stocking and Santa's leg was like, one was twice as big as the other one. And so when we got the request, I had to ask her if she wanted to do it because we all knew I wasn't. So
it's like childbirth. You have to let some time go by before you feel like you could do it again.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Christmas stockings aren't a favorite. But I think we're the only people she's found that will make it.
Yeah.
And make it well. And, she had somebody else make these stockings and they said that they would never do it again, like ever. So
we've said that.
Yeah, but it's different. We're a business. It's a little bit.
Well, I mean, you guys were also in the bridal dress industry, and there was a lot of never again in that thing too.
But we finally got to the point where we're never again in that.
Yeah.
Right. It's a rough thing. But yeah, Christmas stockings, no fun.
Nobody likes
And I know
them.
some people that like they'll have Etsy shops, and all they do is Christmas stockings, and it's something like $150 a piece, and I'm like, okay, for that. And they'll do custom too. They'll slap your name on it. You can choose what animal or what pattern or what design you want. You know what? And it's large yarn too. Like it's like a worsted weight, huge Christmas stocking. I'm like, okay, I get that.
Yeah, I mean the ones we do are worsted weight red heart yarn, so it's not like it's the worst thing on earth. It could be, but I think these people keep getting married and having kids and stuff, so they keep asking for them. So you made like 4.
It's like a family thing. I think it's like a family tradition for them, and it's important to them. And
yeah, there's one lady who I've showed before that I did Christmas stockings for, and she wanted another one because she had a second child, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like on one hand, okay. On the other hand, why?
Yeah.
All right, girls, have at it.
All right, Mommy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
I see you when I'm done.
All right.
Bye. Also just briefly before Olympic news, couple small knitting things that Tabitha from Murder Knits, that she's taking a break right now. After separately, she was hacked, and then apparently someone attempted to hack her a second time. And so separate from that, she's taking a small break right now. So just in case anyone's wondering, like, oh no, did they get her again? No, she's fine.
She's good. She's doing her own thing.
And also, Joanna from Potions Yarns, she has started up a Rumble channel. So yeah, if anyone's interested in seeing her, not on YouTube, that she's doing some new videos and a lot of new yarn colorways that she's doing, Jane Austen inspired stuff, and it is
there's
gorgeous.
One that I want, like,
right.
I mean, there's several that I want, but there was one that I was like, oh, it drops tonight at 6 Central, which is what, 7 o'clock here. I'm like, I wonder if I could, but do I really need more yarn? No, I have all of this and all of this.
There was one I saw. I think it was the Colonel Brandon one.
That's the one I want.
Yeah, where it's green
and like a little purple and.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting there like, of course, my mind immediately, if I was sensible, I'd be like, oh yeah, hash. But internally, I'm like, I'd love like a little cute sweater out of that, like a short 1940s style sweater with just, again, green with just those little speckles in it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
no, I know. So, but I probably
just
won't get any just because,
Right.
We'll see.
I know. It's always the back and forth between, look at all the beautiful colors, back away. But anyways, yeah, it's really cool stuff. But yeah, just small updates.
Little notes.
Yep. And I'm not sure if I should say about phone. Probably not.
No. I haven't seen what she said, and
yeah, that'd be.
We can always bring it up next week if we want to.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, just a little knitting news before we go into the Olympics, which I don't know. I love the Olympics. I don't know if you're into them.
I have not watched much this year, but the kids. So I turned on synchronized diving. And the first view that they tend to show is a sideways view, so you can only see one diver. And my kids didn't realize it was two people, and they were like, their minds were just completely blown. They could not believe it. And then it's funny because then we watch gymnastics, and they're like, I could do that. And I'm like, these people have been training since they were younger than you. You can't do that.
Right.
But
like, if you want to do that, you have to start now.
Yeah. If you want to, we can talk about it, but it's not what you think it is, guys. But so we watched some, but I've mostly been like watching clips on the Peacock channel, just like the highlights, because my kids, they don't want to sit through all the commentary and so we've just been kind of watching it that way.
Yeah, I started watching it on the Peacock channel, but see, I kind of got annoyed for that reason, that it was either the heavy on the interviews or the one where it's only when America wins, and it's just like the ending bit when they win. It's not the whole competition. I'm like, no, I want to see the whole competition. Yeah. And while I love to see America win, I want to see it when other guys win too. Like I want, like, and with the Olympics, the big thing that everyone is talking about is Simone Biles and withdrawing. And okay, like, she withdrew for whatever reasons. She cited mental health reasons later. Initially, when she withdrew, I was watching it. I was watching BBC coverage. They are good for something. And the initial reason that they said was an injury. And I'm like, okay, look, I don't know what's going on in her head. I don't know what's going on with her. It looked as if she did her first vault, and then it was not as good as she wanted it to be, and she backed out there. If it's taken from the angle of she did not want to do anything to injure the team, I'm like, okay, I get it. You want your best performance, and you want your team to have their best performance. So I totally get that. But I don't know. Then the whole social media back and forth bizarreness about saying she should have gone on or shouldn't have gone on. Whatever reason she did, some people are saying it's not justified. Some people are saying it is justified. It's all on her. It's her call. It's her event. Good for her, or not good for her, whatever.
Right.
It's her own thing. But it's like, but she's not a hero or anything like it for withdrawing. Like taking a sick day isn't a heroic move. It's just something that you have to do sometimes, you know?
Yeah. You know, doesn't totally connect to what you're saying, but I was reading an article that was talking about it, and she was saying it was about her mental health and how difficult it's been pushing out her retirement because of the Olympics being postponed. And in the article, it cited that like 1 in 4 college level athletes has like mental health issues and they don't address them. So, you know, there might be something to that she's needing. You know, there's things about her being the only victim of that team doctor that was sexually assaulting or abusing people, and so there may be some stuff to it, but I just don't understand how you would get that far and then be like, hey, I'm out. Like, it's just a very strange thing to me, but I don't know.
I mean, and another thing, I mean, I tend to think, and again, look, it's her own, what's going on with her. How can you tell from this far away? But I'm kind of wondering if it isn't more on the fact that she's, you know, she is like the most decorated gymnast, and she is kind of on the way out that way. There's a certain mentality, a certain group that want to be, well, isn't it beautiful and brave that she's out? No. Like, yes, but no. Like, you do what you got to do, but there's so many, you know, wonderful Olympic moments where it's like, yeah, well, she literally broke her leg and she did it anyways. That's sort of because it's not about you, it's about the group. This person withdrew because they felt they couldn't do it for whatever reason. Sometimes you got to do that, but it's not, like I said, it's not like an extra special thing. Like, I was watching the coverage and like there's only one camera crew, the Olympic Committee. So they can't focus on individual people. Like, you only get one shot.
Okay.
So I was listening to the event, but the whole time, you know, you have everyone else competing, and, you know, the Russians did extremely well. And, you know, you have the Italians and the French and the Japanese girls who are always very elegant and everything. And the Chinese girls who had that they smiled, and they smiled large, and it was like a stuck-on smile. I think they got 6th, but it didn't matter. That it was the big wave and it was the big smile. You know,
Right.
Talk about, you know, some people are like, oh, the patriarchy is keeping Simone Biles down. I'm like, patriarchy is keeping that smile on the Chinese girls, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have all these other people, like the Belgians were incredibly graceful, even though they didn't score as well. And I'm like, it's almost saying that, oh, well, America got silver, but only because Simone Biles pulled out. I'm like, no, the Americans got silver because silver is a respectable and well-earned thing, and the Russians did better. Don't take this away from them.
Right. And I get what you're saying. But like, I read an article that was talking about how Simone Biles was actually going to be like handicapped because her routine was so much harder than a lot of other people's that were performing. And so I also, like, if you go in knowing that, like,
yeah, that's
it's hard to give your best when you know that somebody's going to be like, well, you're so good that we're going to like take points away from you to make it better. It's I cannot believe that the Olympics are going to this team mentality of like, everybody gets a trophy. Like, you're too good, so we're gonna penalize you. That's not the Olympics. The Olympics is about being amazing. I was watching swimming last night, and I think it was the breaststroke. I don't really remember. But this Australian guy was like 2 seconds behind. Like he wasn't even, you know how they have the placings on him while they're swimming? He had no placing on him. He came from behind and zipped past everybody and won. And that's what the Olympics is about. It's not about like, oh, well, you are too good. You got that spurt of energy at the end, so we're going to give it to the next. That's not how it works. So I don't know.
And even I remember, gosh, this would be 2 Olympics ago when they introduced snowboarding.
Okay.
You know, snowboarding is, you know, the guy who won snowboarding, that this was his first big competition, and it was like a quadruple loop, something that he did. And before he was doing like, oh yeah, so what are you going to do for your routine? He's like, yeah, I'm going to attempt this. Like, wow, has anyone done that before? But he was like, no, but it's the Olympics, so I'm going to go all out. Mm-hmm. And he did it. And he succeeded. You know, if someone had sat there and be like, no, sir, you're too good. You're not allowed to get extra points for your new move. Like that's just horrible. So on one hand, it's like, you know, perhaps she isn't performing as well, but you're also saying that she cannot perform as well as she possibly can. Right. And either way, it's like, no, you do your best.
I think if after all that training and stuff, somebody said that to me, I'd probably be like, peace. I gotta go. Right. Like, seriously, it'd be like, well, we get it in the knitting community. You could be the best knitter ever, but you're not a BIPOC or whatever, so they're not going to support you. So it's almost like, why put in the effort?
Yeah. And
I'm not saying that's the only reason she withdrew or whatever. I'm just saying that when somebody's putting their best into something and you're like, well, you're too good or you're not the right thing, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, either way, it seems that a lot of politics, and not even politics in the straight up and down voting way, but just like weird interpersonal politics sort of things, sort of got in the way of her performance. Or maybe not. Again, maybe it's just a personal thing. But even so, like
I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
you do what you do.
I deal with depression and anxiety, and like sometimes I can't make a phone call. I can't imagine feeling that way and then having to go out and have the entire world watch you. So
right.
I don't know. It's a thing. Mm-hmm. But you said there was something about Taiwan you wanted to mention. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah. No, well, so all of this with Simone Biles, like, yes, it's interesting, but it's not half as interesting to me with what's going on with China. It's the Mark Stein line. If you're not talking about China, you're not talking about anything important. Just like my favorite game that I've seen so far in the Olympics is mixed double ping pong. It was the gold match for China versus Japan, and boy howdy was that heated. Like, I think originally it was supposed to be 3 out of 5 and it ended up being a 5 out of 7 match. And yeah, it was.
How does that happen? Did they get a tie or something?
I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't know. I don't know how ping pong works that well, but I mean, in this week, it's the big thing with Taiwan, and that China claims Taiwan as theirs, and Taiwan says no, they're an independent nation, and they're not owned by the Chinese Communist Party. That they are their own thing, and China consistently cancels people who says Taiwan is their own nation, and which is why I made this sweater. This is the back of the sweater for the art exhibit that is no longer a thing, but because like in the new Top Gun thing, that there was a Taiwanese patch on the back and they said, no, you can't have that anymore. Not allowed in China. Can't say Taiwan. Even here, I wrote this down. The Olympic Committee, that they did like a half appeasement of China, that they would not just say the Taiwanese competitors were Chinese, but they called them Chinese Taipei, and then they did like a little Olympics symbol.
Okay.
Which is, you know, really jerk move on their part. Let's just say that. But that even the Tokyo 2020 Twitter, that they had, let's see, Yang Young-hui, I believe, got silver in men's 60K judo. And everyone else had the flag behind him, but not him. It's like, I'm sorry. The man got a silver, and you're just tweeting out the results. Put the flag behind his name. But, and here, I'm going to read this one off because, like I said, the real news, this is where I'm excited for. That, and this is from France24.com. Okay, so current President Tsai Ing-wen, who won a landslide re-election last year, views Taiwan as a de facto sovereign nation and is pushed to use the name Taiwan more. She wrote a message of thanks to Japan online after a news anchor announced Chinese Taipei as Taiwan during the opening ceremony. In response, China's state media tabloid, the Global Times, blasted Japan for dirty political tricks. But it's like, no, it's Taiwan. Say Taiwan. They are a free and independent people, and they deserve to be recognized as such.
Right. That's interesting. I didn't know any of this was going on.
Right. And that's kind of why I'm like, no. This is, the Olympics are going on. And I mean, the Olympics, the best Olympics were the Cold War Olympics, the sort of trial by sports combat that is like, dang it, we were going to win against the Soviet Union. But now, I mean, like I said with the ping pong, that China, again, it's Chinese propaganda, but they threatened to nuke Japan inch by inch until they surrendered if they interfered with Taiwan. That China is gearing up to take Taiwan, and it is going to be such. America has a treaty that if China tries to take Taiwan, we have to interfere, okay? And Japan will interfere, and that's why China is threatening to nuke them if they do. Okay. It's such... If we allow China to take Taiwan, we are no longer the global power. That is the stakes of this.
Right.
And I mean, you could also say that in that we allowed China to take Hong Kong, that the treaty with England is not up yet, where officially they can take it, which is a dumb treaty. I know, but it was dumb. But that we did not do our utmost for Hong Kong. And if we now let Taiwan go, that is horrible. That is giving up the game. And then, there's Japan sitting there, like, yes, we nuked Japan. We did. They're better now. They're our friends. They're no longer starving. Well, they are locking their people in their houses, but they're no longer like the treatment of the Japanese people during World War II was not good for them. And it was not good for the treatment they then had for other people. No. And we stopped that. It was rough, but it happened. And you have the Chinese posturing of, yeah, we're going to nuke you, and nobody's going to do anything about it because we're in charge now. That is the posturing now coming from China. Like, that is the global stakes. That is the Chinese economy has gone up by billions. That is, China now has the largest navy in the world. China has this funny habit of dumping concrete in the sea and building islands so their shoreline, that they're the waters of their nation, you have your country and then you have a bubble of waters around it, keep getting bigger.
Interesting.
Yeah. Other stuff like
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. They're building coal mines. They're buying up all of these areas rich in resources and mining in Africa. Like, they're posturing in a very large way. And that is where the serious issue was. And like I said, it's all nice to discuss whether or not Simone Biles should have gone forward in her competition. And, she might I think she withdrew from another one and she's going to maybe come back for the last. Great. Lovely speculation. I love watching women's gymnasts. I think it's cool. But it's like, still, the ping pong match between, again, it's like if you're going to have these things, the real competition is China sitting there, making all these power moves and the other countries standing up to it. Like that is the real issue here that I'm seriously concerned about.
No, for real.
But yeah.
I'm glad you know what's going on, Anne, because I missed all of this. So at least we've got that for us.
The opening ceremony thing, actually, somebody sent that to me, and I'm like, whoa, hey, like, no, wait, why didn't I hear? And I have yet to watch the opening ceremony. Actually, I was gonna watch it with a friend of mine, but that also in the opening ceremonies that they had, they sung the Japanese national anthem. And then it was that they had a moment of silence for those who had died in the Olympic Games, but specifically the Israeli team that there was a terrorist attack against, that they were specifically mentioned. So Japan wasn't only saying, hey, Taiwan is a thing, but hey, Israel is a thing. And we're recognizing them, right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Japan, way to be.
Yeah. Now, if you could just unlock your citizens, that would be great.
Well, and one thing at a time, right. Give them credit where credit is due. That's good. Move on.
Right.
So, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So is there anything else foreign we need to know?
I don't know.
Not on your list? Just curious.
A little bit. Australia sucks right now.
Oh yeah, Australia's been a bunch of buttheads lately.
Oh.
Their lockdown is crazy. And I mean, here in New York, they're going to try to do it again. We had Cuomo announce, I don't know, this week or something, that kids K through 12 are going to have to wear masks regardless of vaccination status at school. And he's pushing for federal employees to be, state employees, not federal, state employees to be vaccinated, but he's not mandating it. And where I live currently, the guy in charge said that they're not going to force it yet. It may change, but his point is that if you force something like that and people don't want to, then they're gonna move, or they're going to change jobs, or they're going to. So is that the outcome that they want to have by mandating vaccines? But
yeah, the mayor of New York, I saw a little clip saying that we're done being nice. Basically, it's like, oh, we're going to force you to drag you away and take this vaccine. I'm like, are you hearing yourselves?
Yeah, I don't know what they
sincerely hearing yourselves. Are you saying that that an experimental medical procedure, you take that or you are not a part of society? And it's and
they're talking about all the mask mandates and stuff, and I've got to say, guys, this is our time to just not do it.
Yeah.
Like the first time around, I think that we just didn't know enough, and we didn't, maybe not that we didn't know enough, but we were all trying to kind of get along, and we were all trying to, right. COVID was still new and we were confused, and now we've seen.
Everyone was freaked out with the numbers from Italy and how many people were dying there. And it's like, oh, wow, this is bad. And at this point, most of us have got it.
Right. And, I'm not saying that, because I posted a joke this week on my Instagram, and I got a message saying, I've had cancer, and so don't judge everybody who's wearing masks. If you feel it's proper for you to wear a mask, you should. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying that for the majority of us who don't have any issues like that, who don't have a medical concern or whatever, it's time for us to start being like, hey, this is I'm not going to do it anymore. but that's just me. I don't know. But this masking, and today on my Instagram, I posted a clip of Fauci, and it is just 2 minutes of him saying one thing and then saying the exact opposite thing. And he does one thing and then there's no reason to wear masks. Masks don't work. Everybody should wear a mask. Kids can't transmit it. It's fine. Kids have to wear masks, even if they're going outside with their family. Let me tell you something. My kids don't wear masks. I'm not making them do it. I go to the library and other families have their kids in masks and the parents aren't. And I'm like, first off, you parents suck. And second off, come on. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
No, it's terrible. And let's pull out the old Democrat playbook, like say both things and then use the clips you like.
It's ridiculous. And then there's a clip of him talking to somebody like on the Today Show. And she's going, okay, so now you're saying that one mask is better than no masks, but 2 masks is better than 1. And it's like, oh my God, like who can even keep up? This is just ridiculous. He has no idea what he's talking about. And then there was a clip I just saw on Instagram about, his name's Mike something. He's an actor, comedian. I can put a picture of him up. He's somebody that I recognized him, but I didn't know who he was. He's that kind of guy. But he's a crazy liberal. And he was talking about how ridiculous it is that Fauci's like, now people with vaccines can be super spreaders because they're like asymptomatic or they may not get it as bad. And then they can be going around and spreading it and they still have to wear masks. And he's like, this is ridiculous. You people need to figure it out. And I think he's still a crazy liberal, but it's kind of nice to see the other side going, what is happening? What you're telling me is not what's happening. You know what I mean?
No, and totally, because it's like, get the vaccine. It's like, oh, by the way, you can still get COVID. Oh, but if you get the vaccine, then you'll only have it light and asymptomatically, or, but it was Biden saying that if you get the vaccine, you can't die. And I'm like, the numbers don't say that. Just saying.
And that's
it was something. Nice. Yeah, it's like, actually, sir, many people have unfortunately died after getting COVID and getting the vaccine, or suspicious heart problems. Like it's not good, guys.
It's not.
If I thought that I was immortal, I'd brag too.
Well, I know
the wording there is like you can't die. Like, whoa.
I'm pretty sure that's not how vaccines work.
Right.
But no, in May he posted a tweet about like, oh, get your vaccine and you don't have to wear a mask again and blah blah blah. And now he's like, oh, federal employees have to wear masks and blah blah.
As I recall,
get your branding together. Figure out what your message is.
Twitter said, get a vaccine or wear a mask. Apparently forever. But yeah, it's not good. And then coming out of Israel, poor Israel, they've been doing some really crappy lockdown stuff. And they've been very quick to do the vaccine passport. So they're only, on one hand, they're only locking down the unvaccinated, which, thanks guys, that's not weird.
Not at all.
And then the guys out there saying like, oh yeah, vaccines work, the science is in. Also out of Israel, natural immunity it works something like 80% more than vaccination. So
yeah,
sorry, I got it. I'm good.
Yeah, I want to see if I have antibodies, honestly, because I think my husband and I were convinced we got it way back in the beginning because he and I were super sick. The kids barely got sick, and it seemed like it at the time. But
right.
I don't know. Like this whole like not counting on people's real immunity and stuff. It's just believe the science unless it's not what we're telling you, and then believe what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It's just very crazy.
Yeah, believe whatever I tell you exactly in this moment. Not what I said. Memory. Nope, not the science.
Yeah.
Right now. When I say jump, you say how high midair. Like it's
Now this whole thing has just gotten really goofy. But speaking of the illustrious leader of our country, he apparently something happened this week that I saw the picture and I was like, so, and then I like heard more about it and I was like, oh, okay, so this is super disrespectful. Did you look it up or did you not look up what
I missed
happened?
it.
Okay, so there's a picture of Kamala Harris striding in front of Joe Biden. And it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, right? She's walking in front of him. Did you know that like etiquette states that the vice president is not supposed to walk in front of the president? Because he is the leader. They are either supposed to walk next to them if they have like something to speak about or behind him.
Right.
And it's a rule like with all world leaders. I had no idea that this was like a thing. But
well, it makes sense. It's sort of the the royal etiquette too, where it's your job to walk behind and slightly to the side. That you're not the queen. If you're the prince, if you're the duke, if you're whatever, then you don't walk first.
Right. And I like now that I know that it's a thing, it makes sense. But I just didn't know it was a thing. But they were talking about how like it is super disrespectful. It is super disrespectful. And the fact that she's like striding in front of him is even worse because she's like not waiting for him. It's like she's in charge. He looks like a sad little puppy following behind her. I'll put the picture up. But then
maybe she got frustrated with, having to do the short little walks behind his shuffle.
It's her lot right now. That's what you picked.
I know.
But it seems like there's some discord in the White House because that happened, and then he was signing a bill or I don't know what it was. It may have been another executive order. It may have been whatever he was signing. There were people around him, and Nancy Pelosi was standing behind him, and then Kamala, and then some other people. And he turned and he shook Nancy Pelosi's hand. He skipped Kamala and he continued shaking hands around the circle. And so these like happened within like the same day or a day of each other. And so it's interesting because I'm wondering what exactly is happening there. Something is going on in that White House, in that dynamic. I mean, we always knew there was, but
yeah,
like to have these obvious signs of it is interesting.
Right. I mean, they're not all buddies, but I mean, there was always the joke about
you got to pretend you're buddies at least.
Right.
Like you got to keep the facade up, and they're just not. And I'm wondering what this means.
I know, and I mean, everyone's betting on how long it will be until Kamala is the president.
Right.
But it's not as if anyone likes her more or that she's more competent, frankly.
I think they like her less if it's possible, honestly.
Yeah. And
the person that left the race first is the vice president. It just makes no sense.
I think it was another Mark Stein line where it's like, this is the ruling class flaunting that they're in charge and we can't do anything about it. Because why would you choose the most boring, the most unlikable, the most cringe to watch human beings and then put them up at the top? Like,
seriously, every time that woman opens her mouth, I turn the channel. I can't even.
And which may be intentional. It's like, ooh, who do we not want you to pay attention to because it will make your ears bleed? Like, let's.
Yeah, no, that could be part of it. Maybe I should put on the subtitles and then not listen to her.
Would it be any more sensible? Would it?
I wouldn't have to listen to her laugh, though.
That's
which
true.
I think would make anything easier.
That's true.
So it's hard to say. I don't know, man. But the thing about her walking in front of him so blatantly, really, once I started to think about it, it makes sense. Like if you look at any other president, you never see the vice president doing that ever. And it's interesting.
Even Mike Pence, I mean, before he flubbed it at the end. Come on, Mike. But he was always Trump's wingman.
Mhm.
It was what Trump wanted to do. It's like, okay, we did it. He was always respectful. He was always talking him up. His job was not the top guy. His job was the side guy. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And can you imagine Trump's reaction if Pence had walked in front of him like that?
Well, the thing that I had watched was actually people saying that I think it was Benny Johnson on Instagram, and he was talking about how people from Trump's White House had contacted him and said if that had happened on their watch, they all would have been fired. Like it would never have been, it never would have flown. It would have been just completely nipped. And
yeah, definitely.
It's just interesting to me. And like I said, I had no idea that it was truly a thing. So,
well, I mean, it's like the things you see with, the limp-wristed salutes that Obama used to give the Marines and the little disses back and forth. It's like, no, it's like, oh, well, etiquette, so old-fashioned. No, doing what is expected of you is a sign of respect to other people and to show that, you fulfill the position that I show you respect by doing this. Yeah. And that's important. It's like, I clearly don't show you respect because I don't care to do it. I do what I want. I don't care about you
that's the thing with her. It's just, she just could give a crap. Right. Absolutely what he thinks or what she just doesn't care what anybody thinks of her because she thinks she's better than everybody. And you can tell by the way she holds herself and talks to people and oh yeah, I visited the border. No, you visited like 500 miles away from where there were problems, but good try. Yeah. You have no idea what's happening.
Yeah. On the way to California. Yeah, that was.
I don't even want to talk about her.
I know. It's like, oh, can we please give away more cookies of yourself? That's not weird.
It's better than some of this crap though. Like, let's just be honest. So I think on that depressing note, we're going to head out for the day. Remember, order your Deplorable Knitter t-shirts. It's your last day to do it. And like, comment, and subscribe. We've been getting an influx of followers on YouTube, and I really think it's because you guys are engaging with us, which puts us up higher in like the findings. So we appreciate it. We want to find more people.
We're running up the conservative knitting banner, and as many people as want to rally. That's exactly. Or just hang out. Yeah,
you don't have to rally. You can just like chill, whatever. But yeah, thanks for interacting and promoting because that helps.
We are on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, Facebook, MeWe, Vero, Gab to some capacity, Galilee Life, most important. That's where they can find your new stuff and patterns. Yep. Etsy, Lovecraft, we're everywhere. Links below. Find us places. And we're grateful you guys are here.
Yes, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
All right, bye.
Bye.